Hi guys, welcome to Well Behaved Women, a podcast where we talk about truly revolutionary women for better or for worse, because, but we are here today with, it's me, Hannah, we have B, we have Lauren, and we have Anika, and we are waiting to find out who the revolutionary woman, good or bad, is this week.
This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah?
I'm very excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
None of them have been fun so far.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Not one. All right, so on this year in history.
All right.
The Tet Offensive begins in an ongoing war with Vietnam, one of dozens of strategic moves throughout the year that would prove deadly for thousands and thousands of soldiers.
Okay. 60s.
Civil rights leader, public speaker, and man who inspired Thousand Streets, Martin Luther King Jr., is assassinated, which led to the Holy Week uprisings.
Okay.
The first Hot Wheels cars are introduced, and we got Beverley Piece of Shit Allitt.
Beverly Piece of Shit Allitt?
That's officially her middle name.
Piece of shit.
It's not her given
I'm just
Christian
kidding.
Okay,
name.
good.
It's not. It should be.
Piece of shit.
All right, what year are we looking at?
I'm going to guess 1968.
Oh my god.
Is it right?
Right there.
Shut up. Oh, that was really loud.
You done did it.
Woo! Hell yeah.
Yeah, do I win like $1,000?
Yeah, I think round 4 went to you.
You win a seat on the next podcast.
Oh my god, I get to come
There are
back.
some cheese balls.
And there's some cheese balls.
You're going home
if
with
you
cake.
want
We just
it.
talked about this.
Oh, I forgot. We did talk about cake.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but that's great. Okay, so it's 1968.
Beverley Allitt was born and grew up in a small township called Corby Glen along the east coast of England. Her mother was a cleaner for a local school, and her father worked at a liquor store. They were
Alright.
a typical middle-class family, and she was one of 4 kids.
Okay, making it. All right.
You sounded like you were gearing up for something.
No, it's all very English.
It's all very English.
Yeah,
English,
You
yes.
live in whatever fairy town is called.
Fairy
Glen.
town?
Colby Glen.
Colby Glen. Yeah, right. See, exactly.
Sounds like a
Colby
cheese.
Glen. Yeah.
Red-nosed dad works at the liquor store.
Red-nosed
Hey,
dad.
come on. And I bet it's foggy there a lot.
Okay,
Probably.
that sounds reasonable. Yeah. Yeah. It's a Glen.
Never known a Glen that wasn't foggy.
Isn't it moors that are foggy? Glens
Those are foggy
like
too.
Flowery
Isn't
or
all of
something.
England
The
gray?
cliffs are
Yes.
foggy. The valleys are foggy.
All right,
You
go
know,
on
they're-
about Corgyville.
Corgyville.
So Beverly was one of 4 children, and she was constantly vying for the very limited attention of her parents. They're obviously overworked, and when she comes home, she's competing with 3 other kids.
Is she
And
like
she
the
was-
youngest?
I think she was not the youngest. She was like a middle one.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're lost.
You know, one of them middle ones.
She was an aggressive child. Like
Okay.
she fought for her attention.
Quite
She
literally.
was fond of biting.
Yeah. So she was an aggressive child.
That sounds like a parent who's like a little terrified of their kid.
right.
An aggressive child.
Mr. Allitt, how would you describe your daughter?
Does not play well with others.
Oh, you're American. Surprise!
As a child, she was constantly sick. Beverly missed many days of primary school due to various illnesses and ailments.
Well, no
think,
wonder she was so angry.
I think in England they pronounce it primary.
Primary. She missed a lot of days of primary school
There you go.
due to illnesses and ailments. She's a very attention-hungry kid
Ah.
and would wear bandages and casts very often while complaining of aches, pains, and illnesses.
Okay, were they real?
When asked to inspect the injured area, though, she would become incredibly defensive and refuse to show anyone.
Yeah, that sounds like... Okay, one liar as a kid can find another liar. I know this
You can't
fucking
bullshit
shit.
a bullshitter.
Yeah, you can't!
Bullshitter. That's great.
I would pretend to run away, but I'm in my closet. I'm sorry, Mom.
It's a different kind of
She
run
freaked
away.
out. Poor Mom. Oh. All right.
As she grew, she was overweight as a teen and took a great many sick days from secondary school.
Okay.
Secondary school.
Yeah, there you go.
She spent a lot of time at hospitals with various illnesses and ailments. She'd shop doctors, which is where you exhibit a certain amount of symptoms and get the doctors to run all of these tests and procedures to figure out what the problem is.
Okay.
And when they figured out it was nothing and that she had been lying about the symptoms, they would get wise.
She's a hypochondriac.
By that time, she'd be moving on to another doctor.
Yeah.
Once she even conned a doctor to remove her perfectly healthy appendix.
What?
Nice.
I want it out!
Nice.
Get it out!
What does it do to you? What did it do to you, Beverly?
She convinced the doctors that she needed it.
But, like, why go...
She needed it.
But, like...
She needed it.
But she knew it wasn't a
needed
problem.
But the surgeon still got in there, was like, that inflamed.
Well, while I'm
Exactly.
here...
Well,
I might as well take it out.
I mean, just so it doesn't cause her any more
I already opened her up.
Isn't the process like different if it's a healthy versus an inflamed? So wouldn't they be?
I'm not a surgeon.
But I'm just sitting here going, why willing?
Does
just
it
watched a
look
lot of
like
Grey's
my name is
Anatomy.
Dr. B? Because it's not.
It's Wirt.
He's a doctor.
It's Dr. Word. It's Dr. Word.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Dr.
I'm
Wirt.
the kind of doctor that
Dr.
puts...
Words.
If I'm a doctor,
Solving all
I'm the
your
kind that puts
problems.
DR period on the
Dr.
business
Word.
card. You know, not MD. You know what I mean?
So Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb are basically the same
That's-
thing. And
thank
when I was a
you.
kid, I used to think
Dr.
that
Pibb?
like Mr. Pibb was what Dr. Pepper became when he went home for the day.
Oh,
Wow.
It's
This
Dr.
is his
Jekyll
day
and
job.
It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Exactly.
So it's Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely,
somebody
it is.
who's listening, if you want to draw that, please do and send it to us, because I would love to see the Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb
Oh, hell yeah.
horror movie. Let's do it.
That would be really fun.
Okay.
So the surgery was a success, but she had a much longer recovery than usual, partly because she kept agitating the wound and fucking with the scar.
Rude.
She
To
also-
yourself.
Bev.
Yes. You're a mess, girl.
Never trust a Bev.
Never.
She also had a known habit of self-harming, quote, using anything from glass shards to a hammer to inflict injury.
Nice.
But she wasn't all bad. She volunteered her time in the community. She gave her time as a babysitter in the neighborhood.
I don't know about that.
No thanks.
And at this point, she's a very perfect babysitting candidate.
No, she's got using
Until
glass shards and hammers. Yeah, she
one
sounds
day, one fateful night, when the moon is full.
Yeah, she sounds like a babysitter I had in elementary school. Thank
Sounds
you.
like the start of a horror story.
Yes, it is.
I am here to audition for Babysitters Club extras.
I brought my own hammer.
Find it really keep the babies quiet when you sit on them.
Nice.
It does tend to quiet them down. Are you okay?
When you sit on them.
Just
It sounded like an egg just broke.
Oh, I'm sorry. That comes out when I'm laughing really hard.
that's a good sign. You're good.
I'm so tickled by it.
Hammering babies.
And that's our sense of humor on well-behaved women.
Babies are getting hammered.
Oh, God.
Oh my god. In 1984.
You're crying.
She hammered 2 babies.
In 1984, when she was 16, she dropped out of high school and entered a nursing. Absolutely, I'm crying. Oh my god, that was so funny. I don't know why that took me.
You know what? Sometimes it just hits the funny bone just right.
Maybe it's because I know where the story is going.
Oh.
We are gonna hammer some babies.
Oh, man.
Oh.
All right, so when she was 16 in 1984, she dropped out of high school and entered a nursing program.
Seems like a red flag.
She wanted to help people who were hurting like she had been so often as a child.
They haven't finished high school.
Yeah, I would like to have you do that first.
In nursing school, Beverly was sick a lot. She took a great many sick days due to illnesses and ailments. While she was training at an assisted living facility, she smeared feces on the walls and was known or suspected of having other quote unquote odd behaviors. And that's behaviors with a U.
Behaviors.
Yeah. Behaviors.
Behaviors.
Naturally.
When she showed up at all. Just.
Wow. I can't imagine just not going to work.
And then when you do go to work, you're just like the obviously very, very weird guy.
Yeah.
I imagine just not going to work all the time, actually.
Well, I imagine it, but I guess it's like, if I'm just like, I know I have to be at work, I don't know, I have a really hard time not going.
Not going. Yeah,
Without feeling
the
massive
guilt is strong.
Yeah, the guilt is strong is where I was going with that one. It is bad. But, okay, so, alright, she's still pulling the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
Smearing feces.
And it somehow
taking
is
sick days.
Working for her? Is it working for her?
She seems to be progressing in a direction.
That's one way of putting it.
Is it the right direction?
I don't know. Keep
Maybe
reading.
it's the left direction.
Right and wrong are subjective. Don't put your morality on me.
There you go. During nursing school, she found love.
Ew.
Who doesn't want a partner to share their life with?
And throw feces at.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna say, like, and that means sharing the feces thing, yeah?
Oh, totally.
When does she hammer him, though?
When did she babysit him?
With her hammer.
Bless you.
Babe sneezes.
See? It's a real thing.
She found a boyfriend and promptly decided to abuse the fuck out of him.
Oh, poor guy.
She was aggressive, manipulative, and deceptive. At one point, she pretended to be pregnant to keep him around, which turned out to be false. And at another point, Beverly admitted that Beverly claimed that her boyfriend raped her.
Girl.
Nice.
She was a hot mess. Bev.
She's a hot dumpster at a pool.
She's a hot dump, all right.
Ew.
On the walls.
Luckily, the relationship lasted only a few months. He got wise, and
Good.
Hit her with a poo hammer.
all of his all of her former doctors, he moved on.
Yeah, solid.
Like all of her former doctors. Yeah.
News.
Elsewhere in British healthcare.
All right.
So it's time for a little history lesson. In order to understand how Beverly gets to where she is about to get, we need to understand how fucked the medical system is. So by the late 80s, early 90s. So
All right.
Welcome to NHS 101.
All right.
In 1944, the Cabinet of the UK published the White Paper, which stated that health services were to be provided free at the time of service, that they would be financed from central taxation, and that everyone was eligible for care, even temporary residents and tourists.
All right.
This was one step in a whole hell of a pile of steps to make medical services a state-run activity.
Okay.
By 1948, the NHS was founded, and the health services for Brits became free/paid for through collective taxes.
Okay.
Doctors hated this idea.
Oh.
Doctors hate this one idea.
Doctors who are supposed to be keeping you healthy hate something that helps you go to the doctor more often and help take care of yourself.
Well, they opposed the idea of a state-run healthcare as it cut down their level of independence and added oversight to their offices.
Okay.
It regulated a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but like sometimes regulation's good.
Should be.
Yeah, it should be.
The man in charge of getting them on board, as he put it so eloquently, quote, stuffed their mouths with gold
What?
in an attempt to get them on board. To this day, senior surgeons and physicians get labeled as quote-unquote consultants and earn ridiculously generous payment structures.
And is that coming from central taxes? The silence is scary.
Over the next couple decades, the NHS employed a huge number of people. By the late 1970s, they employed well over 1 million people, all of whom were able to be part of union trade agreements in their specific trades.
Okay.
This included nurses and midwives, catering, laundry, cleaning, maintenance, administrative and clerical staff, physiotherapists, doctors, consultants, lab techs, and radiographers. And these were just the biggest groups that were involved in the NHS employment initiative. And then we got Margaret Thatcher.
Oh. Yeah.
So she basically forced the hands of a ton of departments in the government during her time as Prime Minister, and she forced the NHS to outsource a lot of their services to private employers. A third of the ancillary staff positions were eliminated completely, and the ones that remained are now employees of private companies and not subject or qualified for unionization for group representation.
Man. She sucks.
This led to a nosedive in nurses, and the administration began to get desperate. The pattern was to be an apprentice at different hospitals for a long period of time, 4 to 5 years in some trades before fully certifying. Nursing was kind of the same. By the time the people who got out of the program got started in after being fully certified, they're already filling in a growing deficit, so people were leaving faster.
Yeah.
In the mid-late 80s, demand and initiatives for training nurses gained an uptick where they specifically targeted women from middle and lower working class families to enter training. It was a trade school for women.
Right.
Beverly was the perfect demographic, and she loved hospitals.
Yay.
Yeah.
Bev.
Uh-huh.
How's Bev gonna ruin the healthcare system?
Oh, it's gonna be real fun.
Oh, Bev.
Single-handedly.
Despite failing her nursing certification tests a number of times.
Oh, bad sign.
In
She doesn't have a high school education.
I forgot about that, too.
For fuck's sake!
Yeah, that's us.
Because everyone was desperate, though, in 1991, Beverly managed to get a 6-month contract as a nurse.
We should never be that desperate. Okay, go ahead.
You know, it's not always about desperation. It's really just about power control. But I digress.
Okay.
But I digress.
Yeah, true.
The location was a children's ward in the small Grantham and Kesteven Hospital in Grantham, Lincolnshire.
England's so fucking weird. Just name some
Grantham
normal
and
shit.
Kesteven Hospital in Grantham, Lincolnshire.
One
Shit.
name. One name is enough.
Something, yeah.
Let me see that.
Is it Lancashire?
No, she's right.
Grantham and Kesteven Hospital in Grantham, Lincolnshire.
They probably say Lincolnshire now, but it's
Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or Lincoln-
I'm just an American, I don't know.
It's a fucking mouthful and a half, is what it is.
Yeah. I was doing the best I could, guys.
We are just Americans.
Yeah, no, we're not hating on you. That was a bunch of malarkey.
Malarkey. Can you say malarkey like Nigel?
I don't think he would say it though.
Malarkey.
No, he would
No.
say fiddlesticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Fiddlesticks.
And gumdrops.
Rainbows.
That's a load of hooey.
Hooey's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Hooey.
good.
So she gracefully accepted this position.
Gracefully,
and
sure.
Gracefully.
Sorry.
and prepared herself for the great responsibility of caring for children.
Oh boy.
The Great Recession of English healthcare.
As a nurse, Beverly was sick a lot. She missed many, many days of work due to illnesses and ailments.
Those illnesses and ailments again. Are those the names of
That's what it says on the
demons?
chart. Yeah, they can't identify shit. It just says that in quotations
I'm
on every
sorry.
visit.
Yep.
My demons, illnesses and ailments.
My ailments! Ow! I
Elizabeth!
can't come in.
Elizabeth!
It's my ailment again. Don't ask about my ailment.
This lays bullshit.
I'm ill and ailed.
We all know one of these people.
Yeah, I
I
do.
know more than a few.
I'm
Gonna stay silent on the matter.
my mother. Oh my god. She doesn't even know how to listen to a podcast, so I'm not worried.
Fantastic. Okay.
Don't ever tell her.
All right, well then that goes for Kara too.
Yeah, my mom doesn't. I've tried to get my mom to listen to podcasts. She refuses, so we're good.
Yeah,
My
she's,
mom's listened to a couple of the episodes. She liked the Ava episode.
Yay!
Not the one that we just did.
But
I
still.
don't think she's listened to that one yet, but she
Still.
liked the first one.
Still love it.
It's basically if it's someone that she's interested in, she'll listen, but
oh, I see. Yeah.
she'll always make a comment about my language.
Oh, wow.
I wish you
Yeah.
wouldn't curse so much.
Mine would
Yeah,
too.
Mormons, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. So the days that she did show up for work, there was always a story and a reason.
Of course.
For why she showed up, because otherwise...
You know why I won't be
Oh,
here.
what are you doing here today?
Illnesses and ailments.
Yep.
Is
I'm
your
just
ailments
feeling
not
really-
flaring up?
I'm sure at that point, like, there were certain people that just would have rather, like, all right, we've figured out how to do this without her.
That's what I'm saying. Stay home.
No, she's probably like, well, rent's due.
Well, it didn't really matter because she was one of 4 people on that ward.
Okay.
Nice.
Great.
There were 2 day nurses and 1 other night shift nurse.
Oh.
They really needed the help, and they were willing to excuse a few absences here and there for the
few?
sake of the hospital.
It's like she's not even now.
Kind of what it sounds like.
On February 21st, 1991, 7-month baby Liam Taylor was admitted to the ward for a chest infection. He was taken into Beverly's care. His parents were understandably upset and nervous about the idea of leaving him alone for the night, but she assured him that Liam would be safe with her overnight. They believed
she
her.
hit him with a hammer.
When they returned the next morning, they learned that at some point in the night, Liam had... What?
She said sat on.
She babysat on him.
Yeah.
That's what babysitting is.
That's what we say every time. Anika babysat this week. She's like, oh, I'm going to sit on the baby.
I know, that was the comment that tickled me so fucking much.
Sorry to distract. Continue. Timothy, what's his name?
Chalamet.
Shamalama ding dong.
Yeah, him. That guy.
Yep.
All right. Blah, 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 blah.
So they leave him.
So they leave
yeah.
him, and then they return the next morning. They learned that at some point in the night, Liam had a respiratory emergency, but Beverly had saved him, and he was doing better. The second night, they were too nervous to leave his side, so they stayed at the hospital. Beverly wasn't scheduled, but she wanted to make sure that Liam was pulling through. So she volunteered for an extra night shift and stayed with the Taylors.
Where he died.
Oh, God.
Just before midnight, he had another respiratory emergency, but he recovered and was faring better. The Taylors left for a few moments to get some air. When they came back, Liam was deathly pale, and when red blotches popped up on his face, Beverly called the emergency resuscitation team. When they arrived, they noticed that none of the usual alarms had gone off when his condition worsened. Try as they might, Liam suffered cardiac arrest due to the extended lack of oxygen, was brain dead before long. His parents made the heartbreaking decision to take him off life support, and his death was stated as heart failure. Oh, guys, by the way, True Crime Week.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering, why is he going to...
Yeah.
Okay, let's get it.
Yep.
I'm holding on to my butt.
Yep. Hold on to your butts.
Courtesy of Morbid Podcast, that's... Just in case they're like, don't use our phrase.
It's actually courtesy of Jurassic Park.
Is it?
Hold on to your butts.
Hey, we're safe-ish.
So if
Steven Spielberg won't hear this.
if you steal it, they stole it, so who cares? On March 3rd, 1991,
Okay.
1-year-old Kaylee Desmond was admitted for a chest infection.
How many babies is this lady going to kill?
Beverly was assigned to her care. Over the course of the next 5 days, Kaylee was recovering nicely, and Beverly was proud of little Kaylee. On March 5th, 1991, 11-year-old Timothy Hardwick was admitted following an epileptic fit he had suffered. Little Timmy had cerebral palsy, and Beverly volunteered to care for the boy.
She volunteered. I'm getting scared with how much
Seems
volunteering
sus.
she's doing.
Dun,
She's killing all these kids.
dun, yeah, exactly. She was left alone with him for a short period, but she called the emergency resuscitation team because he had lost his pulse. When they arrived, he was turning blue. They did their best, but despite even the pediatric specialist assisting, they were unable to revive Timmy. When his
Imagine
autopsy...
The first night, she was like, damn it, that kid lived.
Oh my God!
That's right. See,
Yeah,
killing all these kids.
Fuck, he's the one that got away!
she got him.
She was
Oh,
sloppy.
She
shit,
got him in the
got
end.
him.
It was a long game, apparently.
Sometimes you've got to play the long game.
She was committed.
I don't like this game.
When Little T's autopsy was completed... It's a horrible game.
It's a bad game.
It's a bad game.
Nobody said it was a good game.
Nobody wins in this game.
Hammer not included.
I hope the hammer comes back, actually. I'm really
Yeah,
looking
now
forward to
we've
that.
talked about it so much. It's its own character.
T-shirts with hammers.
I'm Mr. Hammer.
You want to babysit?
I'm here to babysit you.
Babysitting hammer.
Sit on the baby.
Oh, God. Let's play paperweight. Oh, I feel horrible. I'm sorry, listeners. Oh, no.
Thor's hammer. That baby will never get up.
Oh, God. Unless he's worthy.
The one
Baby
true
doesn't be worthy.
That's a baby to be scared of.
That is a baby to be scared of.
Yes.
All right. Well, tell us the terrible thing about this next baby.
Kaylee,
Well, so
Timmy.
when little Timmy's autopsy was completed, it was reported no obvious cause of death, but they blamed his ongoing epilepsy issues.
Okay.
Beverly continued to suffer many illnesses and ailments, and took a high number of absences. She also continued to care for Kaylee when she was at work. On March 8, Kaylee went into cardiac arrest. She was in the same bed as Liam Taylor, only 2 weeks after the poor boy had suffered the same issues. This time, the resuscitation team was able to revive Kaylee, and when she stabilized, she was sent into an emergency vehicle to a larger hospital in Nottingham. When Kaylee arrived at the hospital, it was standard procedure to do a physical examination. When doctors examined her, they found a puncture mark in her armpit, and there was also an air bubble.
Whoa.
Bitch.
Do you guys know what air bubbles are about?
Oh,
sure
yeah,
do.
yeah. If you get one in your
Goes to your
bloodstream,
brain.
you get a pulmonary embolism, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super dangerous.
She is legit killing these babies
But, ma'am, why?
for their stem cells.
You think she's harvesting them for stuff? Oh, my gosh.
The doctors
But
examining her...
They're,
Oh, God.
they're not... Anyway, I'm not touching it.
The doctors examining her determined that it was likely from one of the many medical professionals working on her at the same time and called it accidental injection. She eventually recovered enough to go home.
In the armpit, though? How can that be accidental? I guess...
There were a lot of people trying to save her life at the same time.
Okay.
Stuff gets stuck somewhere. About 2 weeks later, on the 20th, 5-month-old Paul Crampton was admitted for a bronchial infection. He quickly recovered and was preparing to be discharged. When he was left alone with his attending nurse, he fell into a near coma from insulin shock. Beverly immediately called the rest of her team to come help revive him. He came to, and none of the doctors could figure out why his insulin levels were so high. Paul started to recover. When he was left alone with his attending nurse, he fell into a near coma from insulin shock. Beverly immediately called the rest of her team to come help revive him. He came to, and none of her doctors could figure out why his insulin levels were so high.
Because some crazy lady's injecting him with insulin, perhaps?
Could be the Bev effect.
Paul started to recover again. When he was left alone, again, with his attending nurse, he fell, again, into a near coma from insulin shock. Beverly immediately called the rest of the team, again, to come help revive him. Again. He came to, and none of the doctors could figure out why his insulin levels were so high.
And I'm sorry, how long has it been since he's been on this insulin roller coaster?
Like a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah, this is like all the same day.
No, oh my god, this lady's hero complex that seems that she needs.
So finally they were like, okay, something isn't right. Our hospital must have issues. So the children's ward sent him in an ambulance to a larger hospital in Nottingham. Beverly selflessly volunteered as his nurse during the voyage.
So, okay,
Interesting.
they should know something's wrong if Bev is volunteering all of a sudden with all of those absences.
But she's been working so hard with him, and she cares about him so much, and she just wants to make sure that he's safe.
But they're going to be with other EMTs and nurses, Bev. It's fine.
But he knows me.
Yeah, well,
He has built a relationship with me. He trusts me.
and he
In a
also
day.
trusts his parents, who are
I'm
probably
his
with him
nurse.
the whole time. And they're his parents.
I'm his uneducated, hardly certified, but not really nurse.
Got through by sheer force of will alone.
And oversights galore.
Yeah. The desperation of others.
Yeah.
When he arrived at the larger hospital, Paul was again near comatose because of high insulin levels. He was revived at the new hospital, where he eventually recovered enough to go home.
She's just dripping honey down his throat while he's lying there.
The very next fucking day, 5-year-old Bradley Gibson was admitted for pneumonia. He was left alone with his attending nurse for a short period of time, and suddenly Beverly was calling the resuscitation team.
Every day, people figure it out.
I know!
Poor Bradley had gone into sudden cardiac arrest. He needs help. The team was able to revive him, and he rested. But later that night, he was left alone again, and Bradley suffered another heart attack, after which the team transferred him to a larger hospital in Nottingham. There, he eventually recovered enough to go home.
This poor boy.
This hospital is eventually
Negligent. They're responsible at some point.
No, the hospital that keeps getting the kids is going to be like,
hey, fuckos.
guys.
Like, eventually the EMTs would be like,
Come
don't
on.
take him there. Don't take him there.
Yeah, a little bit. The very next fucking day, it happened again.
My God.
Crazy, right?
This is just so sad for the children.
Addiction.
So 2-year-old Yi-Kyung Chan was a patient admitted for a nasty fall he had taken, where the poor kid fractured his skull.
Ooh.
It's a real bad fucking day. He was recovering, and then he was left alone with his attending nurse.
I hate this.
To Beverly's horror, he seemed to be turning blue, so she rang the alarm immediately for help. And luckily, when the resuscitation team gave him oxygen, he responded well. He started to recover, and then it happened again. The poor kid started to turn blue and was in visible distress. When the team revived him for a second time in a day, they decided to also send him to the larger hospital in Nottingham. The doctors decided the sudden attacks and lack of oxygen must be because of the extreme head trauma. There, he eventually recovered enough to go home. 3 kids with 3 life-threatening emergencies in 3 days. That's a big week.
God.
Well, she's exhausted by the time she gets home, so just taking care of kids, am I right? I'm a
Killing
lifeguard.
kids is just hard.
Kids in the swim lesson last night, like, one of them had real explosive diarrhea, and they got all over the pool.
No.
It was horrible. I had to,
God.
literally wash child poo off of me, and
I would be
then
vomiting.
clean it all up.
Hilarious.
There was a little corn.
rest of us
I
were
found a
horrified.
corn on the pool deck. It was just a tiny little corn. And this poor kid is like,
Oh, poor kid.
I feel better now.
Oh, I'm glad.
I bet you did, dude.
There's like 5 kids in the class, and they're all getting like little bits and
They're all
pieces. So
swallowing
all their parents
shit.
are like, don't touch your face. Like, let's go. It was chaos
That
for
is
a hot second.
It
A hot
is.
mess.
Oh my
of a
God,
day.
it was horrible.
Dookie dookie.
Ugh. Taking care of kids, right?
Wait, spooky dookie.
You know-
Oh my God, I love this show. Major Lazer.
That's one of them that says it.
What's the other one?
Futurama.
Oh.
Hold on to your dookie. It's about to get spooky.
I forgot about that.
Beverly continued to suffer many illnesses and ailments.
As is tradition.
As
I'm
is
just surprised she
tradition.
made it to work 3 days in a row.
I know. Give her some.
Well, she took a high number of absences, and when she was there, she took care of the babies, like the Phillips twins,
Oh,
Katie
I thought you were
and
going to
Becky.
say like the mafia.
hammers.
Nope. She took care of little babies like the Phillips twins, Katie and Becky. Okay, this story is perhaps one of the most heartbreaking, so like a little bit of a trigger warning here.
All right.
Alright.
Okay.
All right.
These girls had been born prematurely and were kept under consistent watch at the hospital. When Becky had a gout of gastroenteritis, she was admitted into Ward 4 for care,
Okay.
which is where Beverly worked. For 2 days, Beverly watched over her closely as she recovered. But on day 2, she sounded the alarm because baby Becky was cold to the touch and appeared to Beverly to be hypoglycemic. The emergency team examined her, but nothing was found to be wrong. With nothing left to do, Becky was sent home to her parents for the night.
Oh.
Through the night, she had convulsions. A doctor was summoned and examined her as she cried out in pain, but basically, the doctor said she was a tiny baby and had colic. It wasn't a big deal. Terrified of being away from their daughter, Becky slept in her parents' bed as they watched, and she died in the night. An autopsy was performed, but they could find no clear signs of death. Which can happen. SIDS is a real and terrifying thing, so
It
sometimes
is.
this does happen.
That's
But-
so sad.
Struck with grief at losing one daughter, Becky and Katie's parents brought Katie into the children's ward just as a precautionary measure.
Okay.
Is there anything going on with Katie that we can help change to avoid what happened with Becky? Beverly volunteered to care for the child. That night, she stopped breathing, and Beverly had to call the resuscitation team to come revive her. They did, and she rested. For 2 days, Beverly was at her side, nursing the hell out of her. And then it happened again.
No.
She stopped breathing, and the team was again called. They revived her once more and sent her to the larger hospital in Nottingham. On entry, Katie was examined. Doctors there found she had suffered so much oxygen deprivation that she had serious brain damage,
Oh my god.
and she broke 5 ribs in her teeny, tiny little body.
Oh.
For the rest of her life, she suffered partial paralysis, cerebral palsy, and sight and hearing damage. She's still alive.
She made it, but she is forever changed by Bev.
Okay, but here's the nice little capper on it. When Katie came out alive, the mother, Sue Phillips, was so grateful to Beverly that she asked Beverly to be Katie's godmother.
Fuck off. That can't be true.
It is true.
Oh no.
And she accepted,
Naturally.
the audacity of this woman.
as is tradition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She went on to care for 4 more children, admitted for different reasons, all having issues with insulin levels and cardiac arrests. Like Michael Davidson, who was a 6-year-old who got hit with a pellet from an air rifle and had to have surgery to remove it. He was in the children's ward for post-op care, but insulin was injected directly into his cannula, and he suffered cyanosis and fell unconscious before doctors in the ward could stabilize him. He was injected multiple times.
This lady.
What the hell?
Okay, but the pièce de résistance. Her last victim was a 15-month-old baby named Claire Peck. Claire had asthma and required a breathing tube. Beverly was only with her for a few short minutes before the alarms rang and Claire had to be resuscitated. The poor thing had suffered a heart attack. She recovered, but was left alone in Beverly's care once more. And when that heart attack happened, Claire never recovered, and she died on April 22. It had been 59 days since Liam died.
It's been 2 months. What does this woman have against children?
She's the angel of death.
She just wants to be the hero.
Yeah.
And then also, I guess, finish the child off?
I mean, she's kind of, it seems like in a lot of these cases, she's really trying to push it to the edge so that she can bring them back and be the hero.
Yeah, so big savior complex.
Very much so. By the time Claire died, suspicions were rising. In a ward where there was rarely life-ending emergencies, there had now been 13 in the course of 59 days.
Yeah. Took
Now
2
we're
months to
worried.
figure this out.
Dr. Nelson Porter, who had been around for many of these attacks, initiated an inquiry because there had to be some common link they were missing. Was it something in the air? Was it something in the food in that ward? They tested every environmental possibility to rule everything out. Nothing came up, they had zip, but when Claire's autopsy came back and showed something new, she had a crazy, crazy high level of potassium in her system. This was really suspicious, and the authorities were called. So they were called 18 days after this baby died, and the body was exhumed to do this.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's so heartbreaking for
It's
the family.
really bad. The labs tested her blood, and it came back with traces of something called lidocaine. This is a drug that is used for cardiac arrest, but it is never, ever, ever used on babies. With that, the investigation was open, records and logs were seized, a security camera was installed in the ward, and patterns of behavior for all the comings and goings of staff were studied. Stuart Clifton, the police superintendent, and for all intents and purposes in my brain, he looks like Basil Rathbone, suspected foul play.
Okay.
Suspected foul play. There.
Nope.
No.
As the investigation went forward, Clifton collected records of all the other suspicious medical circumstances over the last few months. He came up with 25 separate instances spread across 13 victims. All had inordinately dangerous levels of insulin in their systems. And surprise, surprise, Beverly had, according to a different set of records, reported the key to the insulin cabinet as missing. Just disappeared.
Right.
Parents were interviewed, daily nurses' logs were checked, log entries were missing in a lot of places. A security camera was installed, but it was kind of too late for that one.
Yeah.
The common thread, Clifton realized, was the presence of a woman who would come to be nicknamed the Angel of Death. As Beverly was suffering from various illnesses and ailments, missing multiple days, the records showed as much. And they also showed that the only person at the hospital for each and every day of those 25 instances was Beverley Allitt.
Damn.
By June, Clifton and his investigation team were very comfortable in their assessment that Beverly was indeed the perpetrator, but they didn't arrest her until November.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Beverly was calm during investigation. She insisted she had only done her best for those children, everything she could do to save them. She denied any wrongdoing or any part of those wretched attacks.
Mm-hmm.
When police conducted a search of her home, they found log pages that looked as though they'd been torn out of the daily logs. And as they looked further into her background, Beverly's behaviors were deemed interesting by professionals, and they sent in many healthcare professionals to assess her and give her a possible diagnosis.
Okay.
Less than 1% of the population suffered from a disorder called factitious disorder. This is more commonly known as Munchausen syndrome, and displays in behaviors of deceiving others with the intent of convincing them one is sick or hurt. The person may make up symptoms or even tamper with medical tests to convince others that treatment, such as high-risk surgery, is needed. This is all done as a ploy for attention and is considered a serious mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 1% of the population suffer from a disorder called factitious disorder imposed on another. This is also more commonly known as Munchausen
by proxy.
Absolutely. And it displays in behaviors of convincing medical professionals that another person is suffering from illness or injury. The person will make up symptoms that the other person is not actually experiencing and explain them to a doctor to give false diagnoses and treatments. All the while, the person with factitious by proxy is soaking up the sympathy. I'm so good, I'm bringing them in, I'm taking care of them. Mm. The victims of these factitious by proxy are often those close in some relation to the person suffering from this serious mental illness. As it turned out, Beverly had both. While growing up, she exhibited the symptoms of someone with straight Munchausen, where she was constantly the victim. When she grew up, she victimized the patients in her care. She was the white knight nurse, here to save the babies from a brush with death. Mm-hmm. Or to be the sympathetic shoulder in the grieving mother of a poor baby who just died.
Oh, I just...
Yeah.
Can't understand.
While she was awaiting trial, Beverly continued to suffer many illnesses and ailments.
Oh, I'm sure, Bev.
She missed a number of meals and developed anorexia nervosa, losing 70 fucking pounds in the space of 16 months.
Bev!
Because of this specific ailment and illness, the trial kept getting postponed. Finally, in mid-February of 1993, Beverly began to be tried for the murder of 4 tiny children, 11 counts of attempted murder, and 11 counts of causing grievous bodily harm.
Yep.
Here are the facts of the case as laid out by the prosecution. 1. She had been present at each of the 25 separate suspicious episodes. 2. When she was taken off the ward, the episodes stopped. 3. Mm-hmm. In each victim were found high readings of insulin and high levels of potassium. 4. Many victims also displayed puncture marks and evidence of drug injection. And 5. She cut off victims' oxygen by smothering the patient or tampering with the machines.
Whoa. I didn't know smothering.
Smothering.
That's fairly violent for someone to do that, because it takes a long time to suffocate.
And that tiny little baby, like,
well, I guess
automatically thrashing against it. Like, oh.
God, that would just...
During the course of her 2-month trial, Beverly continued to suffer many illnesses and ailments.
I am so tired of hearing illnesses and ailments.
She missed her own trial for all but 16 days.
Great.
Also during that 2-month trial, a number of witnesses, doctors, and other healthcare professionals gave their testimonies. One doctor explained in the trial her pediatric issues of Munchausen's and her adult Munchausen by proxy, and how it was very, very rare to have both. Her post-arrest behavior was remarkable and cooperative, insisting on caring for the children. Mm-hmm. All this, with her other exhibited behaviors, in this doctor's opinion, meant that Beverly could never be cured, and she was a clear danger to anyone with whom she might come in contact. In other words, never ever be alone with this person ever, and limit her contact with the world, or she will manipulate them into serving her.
That's terrifying.
Lock her up in a box and throw in a key.
Yep. Beverly was convicted on all counts, which is a shit ton of time, right?
Has to be, right?
Right?
Nah.
One would think.
Nah.
You would think.
The judge who tried the case stated this after the conviction.
I have found there is an element of sadism in Miss Allitt's conduct and her offending. But that sadism is itself...
We're in England.
Oh, we're in England.
No. This is my cousin Vinny. We are in Alabama.
Okay, not sadism, isn't it of itself?
If not the result, certainly a manifestation of her mental disorder, and would be unduly simplistic to treat in the same way one would if the offender were mentally well.
Foghorn Leghorn, the judge.
I was hoping we would go for an insanity plea.
So the judge took pity on her
Oh no.
and sentenced her to service 13 concurrent terms for the crimes.
Okay.
Not consecutive.
Right.
Concurrent.
Give you a break in between.
I don't like that.
At the time, he suggested a minimum of 40 years to be served, and at the time, it was the longest minimum term ever suggested by a trial judge, high court, or politician.
Okay.
If a medical professional declared her to no longer be a danger to the public, she could be eligible for release in 2032. She would be 64 when that happened, if it happened.
Oh no.
The judge ironically stated that the sentence was commensurate with the horrific suffering of the victims, their families, and, quote, well, now we gotta have the judge guy do it. The ignominy.
Judge
Stop with the
Leghorn?
ignominy.
What the hell's an ignominy?
Just
say the word.
say the word. I don't know.
We just read.
The ignominy she had brought upon nursing as a profession. No.
Like the ego she had as a nurse?
The shame she had brought on
the
it.
shame
like
she
the
brought.
infamy, I think.
Okay.
Joanne Taylor, the mother of Allitt's first victim, Liam, said that she was pleased with the judge's verdict and his reference to Allitt's sadism. Taylor, who was in court with her husband, said, quote, "That's what we all felt at the time. There's a fine line between evil and illness, and I'll never forget him saying that word today." But here's the rub. According to the Mental Health Act of 1983, she was considered to be very mentally unwell, and in a horrible twist, she was sentenced to serve her time as a patient of a hospital.
All right.
Where she escaped.
Where she wanted to be, maybe?
Where she's been wanting to be this
Yeah.
whole fucking time.
I'm like, she wants to be...
She loves the hospital.
At what point does she manipulate somebody into helping her escape, is what I'm asking.
Oh, yes, that's
She doesn't
true.
want to escape. She wants to be in the hospital and get treated for all this
She
shit.
wants the
Does she?
attention.
She wants
Yeah,
to.
I guess.
So she might do, like, at worst, start a riot. Right?
There are
that's-
worse things than that,
It's
surely.
the dream.
Well-
she's getting treatments from therapists
I
and
suppose.
medications,
And she can go,
Yep.
woe is me.
exactly. And
Yeah.
every moment of every day revolves around
Taking care of her
And
and,
the
helping her
government
recover.
taking care of her illness and her
And
ailments.
you can't forget the ailment.
Ailments. Yeah, that's ideal for her.
So the act deals with the legislation determining the length of time someone can be detained at a hospital against their will, and basically she fell under this law because of not only her mental health, but she was considered a danger to herself and others. Beverley was sent to be a prisoner at the Rampton Secure Hospital in Nottinghamshire. Nottinghamshire.
What are these names?
Nottinghamshire.
How many syllables do we need?
Nottinghamshire?
Too many.
Nottinghamshire. That's
Too many.
Shire's really two
They kind of
syllables.
shorten it to, like, sure.
Sure.
But yeah, they
It's
kind
like
of like throw it all
Gloucestershire,
together.
Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
So the Nottinghamshire.
Nothing.
Somebody
fuck it.
correct me.
No, nobody correct. They're dumb. That's the correct.
they're stupid.
Yeah, we won the Revolutionary War.
Oh, God. We're bringing this up
Bitch.
again.
Respectfully, bitch.
Respectfully,
You know what?
bitch.
No, unrespectfully, bitch.
Disrespectfully, bitch.
It's all silly and floofy for no reason.
You won't normally hear me claiming, like, U.S. wins, but here I am.
U.S. wins.
Take your names and shove them up your frou-frou holes.
But I still want to be friends.
So one of the victims said the
No.
facility is akin to a vacation. One of the victim's fathers said the facility is akin to a vacation resort rather than an actual prison.
Oh, that's
Really?
just fun to hear.
Quote, the facility, which has some 1,400 staff to deal with around 400 inmates,
Whoa.
costs taxpayers around £2,000 per week per inmate to administer.
That is ridiculous.
That's
I mean,
Not to sound
I mean, I want
ableist, but it sounds kind of crazy.
It just is just that's how many
a
people
lot
per
of people.
patient. That is almost more. That's like 3.5, 4
Yep.
people per patient.
3.5 professionals per patient.
depending on how high their needs are, that might be appropriate.
Okay, yeah,
Because-
maybe, yes. We don't know how, she was an aggressive child and an aggressive adult. She's probably an aggressive patient.
I don't know shit about fuck.
All right. We appreciate the honesty.
I know that I've worked with aggressive children and been by myself, and it's scary.
It's terrifying, yeah. So it was really expensive, but while that may still be at some points, the reason for that is that Rampton was subject to a shit ton of criticism for how they treated their patients in the late 70s. And so that was one of the it was an overcorrection.
okay.
Okay.
It went from we're really, really bad. Their treatment of patients, one of the reasons for the introduction of the Mental Health Act.
Okay.
And so they had to now kind of be the banner to hold up.
All right.
But of course, her attention-seeking behaviors started to pick right back up again when she was in the hospital. And now she had a cadre. Is it cadre?
I have no idea. I'm going to trust you.
Yeah. And if it's wrong, don't tell me. Cadre,
tell me.
it's she had a cadre of staff to care for and pay attention to her. She started eating ground glass and pouring boiling water on her hands just as examples.
Sweet.
I'm sorry. Where is she? Is she grinding the glass herself?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
She's got to find it first.
Yeah.
And
Well,
grind it.
we know she's good at getting shards of glass, but I guess she got inventive as she
Yeah.
got older, and oh, God.
Yep. Just, how fucked is that?
No, thank you.
Just to intentionally inflict horrendous levels of pain on your own self just for someone to pity you.
That's
Like,
really very
be real
severe mental
sick.
health
it's
issues.
very sick, yeah. Because of the way she treated herself and the staff, she's been placed on the Home Office's list of, quote, do not parole ever.
Beware of patient.
She's a biter.
She's a biter.
Of herself.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, true.
And glass.
If you don't, yeah.
Anyway, since then, things have deteriorated. Between 93 and 2005, she received over 25,000 pounds in state funds.
Why?
In 2001, there were reports that Allitt was to marry fellow inmate Mark Heggie, although she is still currently single.
Yeah, okay.
He really liked the way she chewed glass.
Maybe he was there chewing glass along with her.
Yeah, and then he's like,
that was
"Never
just his
mind."
thing.
This isn't for me, babe.
In 2006, she filed for a review of her sentence. In late 2007, the decision came back that instead she would become eligible for parole in 2022 at the age of 54.
Whoa.
Okay,
That's
so
last year.
what happened with that?
I'm ready.
She has not been released yet.
Okay.
I checked this morning. In the hospital, she is eligible,
Called.
but she has not been released. In the
Okay.
hospital, she has
As
admitted
of
to.
recording, it is Tuesday, April 25th at 6:41 p.m. Just so we're all.
Well, like, okay, literally the only
Timestamp.
news articles that were about it were like in December, like right after she became eligible.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's been no news about it since.
Okay.
And so it's a do not parole ever, so they're not letting her out.
Yeah, okay, good.
I should fucking hope not.
Yeah.
In the hospital, she has admitted to 3 of the 4 murders and 6 of the 9 assaults. Beverly has appeared as a feature in She Is Still. She's appeared as a feature in She. I don't know what that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll look it up.
She is still considered a great danger to herself and others, especially her victims, who are very concerned for the looming parole date.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
I of course, I typed this back in 2022 when the parole date was like coming up.
Ah.
Yes. Katie
Probably still
Phillips,
concerned.
who survived but was left with permanent physical mental damage, and Beverly as a godmother, made the news recently because not recently, like 3 years ago.
Okay.
Because she was upset that Beverly got the COVID vaccine before Katie was eligible for it.
Whoa.
Because of the way that the laws
Yeah.
worked out, Beverly in her hospital could get the vaccine before Katie,
Yeah.
very, very mentally ill and physically ill Katie,
Yeah.
was eligible for it.
I think it was probably because of the population density and it was for a while. COVID was going around really quickly around prison populations,
It sure was.
and,
Well, it's really-
and hospital populations and stuff.
Save the old people because the old people are in the government. That's really all the
So that's Beverly, and
That's
she was fucking
Beverly.
horrible.
Bye, bitch.
Yeah.
Bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch.
And disrespectfully.
Yeah.
Bitch. And Damon, and
Escape. Just go rot.
and yeah, just
glass, perhaps.
eat. Yeah, continue to
Eat
do
glass.
Eat some glass.
that. You can keep doing that. You have
You know
my
what?
blessing,
It makes her happy, and she is suffering. So like,
and it will
I
cut her
guess
from the inside.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
I feel like that's the bare minimum.
Eat some glass.
Eat
Yeah.
some glass. Beverly, nobody else.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Just Beverly. If
And those
anybody
people that are
else-
on My Strange Addiction, where they like love to eat glass.
Yeah, the girl who liked to drink gasoline freaked me out.
The one that ate like stuffing out of cushions and like drywall.
Oh, I
was,
saw
like-
that one.
Or the one that ate toilet
let's
paper.
not
Mental
plug a
health help is
terrible
out there, my
show.
friend.
Jesus.
You don't eat.
Let's
glass.
promote our own
Couch
show.
stuffing.
Yeah.
Let's
Good
promote
God.
our
Yes,
own show.
let's talk about where the people can find us.
Eating.
Where can they
Doors.
find us?
Well, there's many ways. Number one is our website, wellbehavedwomenpodcast.com, where you can catch all of our newest episodes and you can go back and see the archive. You can also find us on Instagram, at Wellbehaved Women Podcast. You can find us on Facebook in either our page or our group, both named Well-Behaved Women. And then you can also find us, what's the other one?
Blueberry?
Oh, yeah, all the podcast places you can find
Blueberry.
it. Yeah,
Blueberry.
this new podcast platform we found called Blueberry Podcast. Blueberry.
Blueberry.
Yeah, Blueberry.
Can we name this guy like? Can we name him Wirt?
Yeah, that is Wirt. Yes.
Dr. Wirt.
Dr. Wirt.
Wart Blueberry Covington
This
the,
is
the fourth.
That's canon now.
Yeah.
You've made
He
it
has an
canon.
origin story.
He does. We're going to build that origin story.
Fantastic.
You can also find us, obviously, anywhere you find podcasts, mainly Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and as we previously mentioned, Blueberry Podcast, the up-and-comer. And I'm trying to blinking. But
We have a Facebook page and
Reddit.
Yes, we are on Reddit.
We are on
Yay.
Reddit.
So if you're on Reddit, if you're on Facebook, come and look for us. And there is a page, there is a group on Facebook. I don't know what the fuck the difference is between them, so join both. I don't know.
We'll do it.
But if you want to get in contact with us, you can do that.
Yeah.
We'll be on Reddit, and we're both active on it, so
Yes.
we'll be able to
Please
answer.
send...
Please join.
Yeah, please join.
Please join. We need people.
Tell us about yourselves, say hi, and also feel free to let us know any topics that maybe you haven't seen us cover, and we might be able to do it in the future.
Yes, I am constantly updating a list, an ever-growing list. It has never shrunk, of people that I want to cover. So if you have suggestions of like really, really cool people, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool women.
Yeah, cool women. And even
Women,
in your
obviously.
family.
Yeah.
And that'll also be on the Discord in the future. But this outro's gone long enough. Thank you.
Deuces.
Deuces. We love it.
Thanks so much.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
night, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
pod.
Thank you.
Yep. Good pod.
Woo!
Fuck, do I stop this thing?
Wow.